Sagittarius 29, fat boy mowing the lawn. It's not a very romantic image. A fat boy gives you a sense of somebody who's a bit slow and not very bright, and he's mowing the lawn, a very simple task. The suggestion is that we all have our place within society, and there are implications. The range of skills that we have to bring to gain community relevance has to be real. This fat boy doesn't only mow lawns, he perhaps trims hedges as well, and you can extend when you see somebody doing something, you can just imagine that they can probably do other things too. And the fat boy needs some physical exercise, presumably. And we're discussing here the relevance that we have individually within our community, which represents two things. What the community needs of us. The community needs the lawns mowed. And what we need of the community. Well, we need employment, we need income, we need a bit of physical exercise. Whatever we need has to be exchanged for what the community needs. So that sense of involvement with the community process is hinted here. And it's important for us to gain some measure of acceptance by the community. We would be lost without social approval of some kind. Now, of course, we're never going to win social approval totally. Even the most popular people have those who don't like them. So what we're looking for is our niche within the community. Where can we find our place? Where who we are, whether we're simply only able to mow lawns because we're physically not very good, we're mentally not very good, but we've got a place. By doing something, we can find our place. And it may be that our skills and limitations mean that all that we could ever do is work in a laboratory, or work on a football field, or look after kids. That's the only thing we could do properly. And like around that would be a series of skills, no doubt. But we've only got one type of niche, perhaps. Yet the community needs it somewhere, and we have to find our place in the community. So the community is much, much less interested in our creative expression than we are. The boss wants you to do the job, get your money, go home, don't be sick too often. Not really concerned with much else, usually. So we have to take care of that ourselves, because for us, that kind of automaton life, that robotic experience of going to work, doing your job, coming home, all of that rhythm of life which is dull and routine, that's not enough for the soul. The soul is only really brought to life fully when creativity is involved. So we have to find our way within the dull routine of life for creative expression. And it is the sense that we have is that even mowing a lawn, you can do that in a creative way. Even if it's singing, making up songs as you mow the lawn, or having some kind of interplay with the kids of the family, or whatever you do, you'll find an aspect of that experience which is subject to a bit of interpretation. Now, if we look in our own lives for that, we will find that some of it is dull, and we really don't want to go too far in that direction. But some of it is free for us to be who we are, and we have to find that. If we don't find that, then we end up creating a very dull life indeed. And when a lot of people create a very dull life for themselves individually, then they create a group experience of dullness, ordinariness. It just spreads, and life is then not really alive. So we have to be creative in every moment if we can, take every opportunity that we've got to express who we are and how we are. Those people who can do this, who can both discipline themselves well enough to find their niche in society, earn their money, earn their position, earn the respect or at least the acceptance of the community on the one hand, and on the other hand be wildly extravagant in their creative expression. Anyone who's actually managed to do both of those things happily is a rare person indeed. The extravagant expression of self is just not wanted by the community, not at all. Wildness is almost bred out of us. It's certainly disciplined out of us in many different cases. And yet we are partly wild. The beast within us must not die. It must not be repressed. And the people that can actually tame the beast so that it's there when wanted and yet be a model of society, these are the very special people. These are the people about whom this Sabian degree is written. So if you've really mastered this wisdom, then you will find yourself to be absolutely accepted by your social group, a figure of normality, doing the job that you're supposed to do, keeping within the bounds of acceptability and so on. And yet the inner passion that you feel is as wild as a beast, as passionate as any animal that you can dream of, and expressive of that in some context. Within the socially acceptable context of where you live. So if your sun or your moon is in this position, then you're somebody who constantly has to marry up these two things. Your boss wants you to do this, which restricts you from doing that, which your heart wants you to do. Or your wild, spontaneous behavior gets you into trouble, and you can't afford to pay the fines or to deal with the feedback you get when you do something that they don't like. You're constantly dealing with that problem. On the level of sun, you're doing it with awareness. Bit of a rebel rouser maybe, sometimes, but able to play the game, living on the margins of society quite happily. If your moon is there, then it will be unconscious. You will not realize that this is happening quite so obviously. But bringing the light of concentration to it, to just understand it more deeply, you'll bring some of this unconscious imbalance within you. This discrepancy between what you must do and what you want to do will just be made known to you. and you'll come to understand that you can actually do both, but not at the same time, not in the same place. And the moderation that you bring to this question is simply to choose your time and place properly, and never allow the beast to die. Keep the beast tamed and passionately alive. And yet also, don't allow the beast to crash into your social obligations.